A little hand grabbed my sleeve on Broad Street, and a small voice said, "Please don't go," and I swear, the city noise fell away like somebody hit mute, because this kid couldn't have been more than 6, 2 puffballs tied with green ribbons, a yellow dress washed thin, eyes steady in a way grown men fake in boardrooms. She looked right at me and said, "Don't go to Sequoia Tower, it's going to fall at 3:13. The east side goes first, and my first instinct was the old one. The one I learned in a trailer behind a feed store when people laughed at my shirts and my ideas. Smile tight, keep moving, prove them wrong with a signature and a wire transfer. I had 28 minutes to close a $240 million deal that would make a rival choke on his own press release. My driver Evan was already tapping 2 fingers against his watch like a metronome. And then this kid put her warm hand on my cheek and said, "You won't go if you want to live." I asked how she knew. She said she sees pictures before they happen, like knowing the next song on the radio. And a part of me wanted to laugh it off, you know what I mean. But something cold ran down my spine. Not fear exactly, more like the moment before a storm, when the air goes still and the birds go silent. Evan opened the door, voice clipped, "Cole, we're late," and I heard myself say, "Cancel the meeting." He blinked like I'd switched languages. "They won't reschedule," he said. "Then it's never," I said. And the girl smiled with a little gap in her teeth. "You're supposed to help a lot of people, Mr. Cole." Then the crowd swallowed her gone like a magic trick I didn't ask for. I tried to do it the right way, called inspections, fire, the property manager, corporate security. No one shuts down a 30-story building because a billionaire says a child predicted doom, sir. With all due respect, we need evidence, and I had none except a voice I couldn't unhear and a clock that didn't care about my reputation. At 3:05, I told Evan, "Take me there." We pulled into the loop at 3:09. I ran past the marble and the board guard and yanked the red handle. Because sometimes your choices are pull the alarm or live with yourself afterward. Sirens hit like a wave. People spilled from elevators with coffees and questions. 2 cops came in hot, scanning for the idiot who pulled the alarm and saw me then. The floor shivered under our shoes, and the world made a sound. I hope you never hear in person, like the earth grew a throat, and we ran no speeches, just bodies and breath, and across Broad Street, we watched a crack lace the east face of Sequoia Tower, watched the top floors slide into the middle like plates, then the center gave, then the rest, and in under 2 minutes, a building was a mountain, and 100 people were crying and alive. The fire captain found me. "You're the one who called." "How did you know?" "A little girl told me," I said. And watched his face do the math, watched him understand that a system full of stamps and seals had just been outpaced by a kid in green ribbons. The cameras came, the choppers wrote circles, my phone lit with board members and enemies and reporters and people who only call when blood is in the water. I ignored them all until a detective named Dana Cho flashed a badge and said, "I need to ask you some questions," and I said I'll answer if we look for a 6-year-old named Piper. We found her caseworker, Jada Brooks, at a folding table behind a gym that smelled like pine sol, and second chances she had the look of someone who has seen more than she can fix and keeps showing up anyway. "Piper's one of mine," she said, "special." "Do you believe her?" I asked. "I do," she said. "Without wobble, I've seen it too many times. The problem is no one listens until after." We started walking. No metaphysics, just places a small library on clay where the librarian said Piper had checked out books on bridge failures and skyscraper design, and had drawn trusses in the kids' corner St. Mark's kitchen, where a volunteer said she served pancakes and left at 10 for something important. A riverside playground with a broken dinosaur, where Piper sat like the city was a movie and she was the only one who knew the ending. She saw me and didn't run. "You listened." She said, "You saved them," and that almost broke me in a way I'm not going to apologize for. I said, I have a guest house. It's empty and safe. Come tonight. We'll do it right. Jada folded her arms. You don't get to swoop in with a cape and a checkbook. I'm offering a couch, not a crown, I said for one night, and Piper looked between us. I feel safe with him. I would know if I didn't. We ate pizza in a kitchen where the appliances cost too much, and a kid ate like the food might run away. Jada put a finger on Piper's plate. It's not going anywhere. And the kid kept eating anyway, because that's how habits built in chaos behave. After she fell asleep halfway through a movie, Jada and I sat with forms and a laptop. You want to help lots of people say that and mean a photo op. Place that does this right, I said. Not a warehouse, a home, 30 kids, tops, real staff, trauma-informed everything. A library with pillows, a kitchen that smells like bread at 5 p.m. You know how much that costs? She asked. Tell me. I called my lawyer Patricia and said, Lighthouse Harbor, 15 down, 3 to 5 a year, Jada runs it. I write checks and shut up, and yeah, that happened. The next days were background checks, calls, media we didn't feed. I learned what it feels like when a system designed to be careful becomes a machine that forgets the names of the people inside it. Jada had 35 kids on her caseload, and the guideline says 18. Piper drew buildings at our island and annotated where they would fail with arrows. Nights were cartoons and new pajamas, and the tiny relief that comes when a kid finally laughs like she didn't have to earn it. Then the phone rang, and Jada went pale in a way I don't ever want to see again. Piper's aunt is petitioning for custody. Her name is Teresa Lane, sober, 18 months, steady, job as a tech, at a rehab center, small apartment. The law is the law, family first, if family is safe. Everything in me wanted to fight, to stand on a table and make a speech about love not being blood, and a yellow dress that finally had a closet. Jada put her hand on mine. We don't fight the person who loves her. We help them love her better. I met Teresa in a coffee shop with a bell on the door. If you're here to talk me out of it, I'm not, I said. I'm here to ask what help looks like if school were covered. Would you become a nurse if rent were covered? Would you move closer to a good school if counseling and aftercare were covered? Would that feel like support? Or a string, she cried without hiding it. Why would you do that? Because I love her, and because I know what it feels like to want to be chosen in public. A month later, she had keys to a bigger place, was enrolled in night classes. Piper had a trust with guardrails, and the day she packed her backpack and folded her own dress, she looked up and asked, Are you mad? I'm leaving mad. Love isn't a lease, kiddo. It's a door. You can come through it as many times as you need. She hugged me with her whole body. You're one of the good ones. That's why I stopped you. I knew you'd do the big thing. I'm still figuring out what the big thing is. You're doing it, she said, then waved with all 10 fingers like she'd invented goodbye. So we kept building Lighthouse Rows faster than anyone predicted, because money moves quicker when you stop pretending the donors' names matter more than the kids. Staff looked you in the eye and meant it. Therapy rooms felt like living rooms. The kitchen hummed on opening day, the mayor did his handshake tour, and I said into a mic, I'm not giving a speech. I'm just trying to keep listening to a 6-year-old with green ribbons. And when I turned, Jada was looking at me like terror and hope had decided to share a chair. We didn't slide straight into a rom-com. We filed forms, burned dinners, had a night where she told me about her brother, almost lost in the system, and the social worker who stitched their family together with grit. I told her about fixing a vending machine at 12 and getting accused of stealing when I was just hungry. We argued about everything that mattered. We took in 2 siblings as emergency foster parents because the house felt wrong without cereal bowls in the sink. Tyler was 9 and skeptical, Hannah 7 and careful. Everyone promises. Tyler muttered. I know I said so. We'll stop promising and just show up. And we did homework at the island. Nightmares at 2:14, dentists and masks. And why you can ask for water if you're scared. 6 months later, the caseworker asked if we'd consider adoption. We said yes before she finished the sentence, and Tyler said, "Dad once," and pretended he hadn't. And I let him have both truths. My board hated all of it, in the way men in linen blazers hate things. They can't quantify the rival. Took the deal, our stock dipped. I stepped down as CEO and put someone smarter and calmer in the chair, stayed on the board. With one rule, we measure more than price. The night Lighthouse hit capacity, we held a small ceremony. Piper sat front row with Teresa in a new yellow dress because some armors should be kept, and I told the crowd that real success sounds like a kid brushing their teeth without being told, because no one ever taught them before. And then I asked Jada to marry me, and she said yes, loud enough for the birds to know. And yeah, I cried. Here's the part that might start a fight. A building inspector who'd been pushed out, asked to meet, confessed corners, had been cut for years, and everyone knew. Asked me to testify with him, I said yes. People called it grandstanding. Said I wanted to cry on TV and run for office. No thanks. If you see my name on a ballot, assume my enemies got creative. I'm just a man who got grabbed by a kid and learned how to listen. Piper still calls sometimes at last week. She said, "Tell Mr. Cole not to worry about Friday. I saw something good." Friday was the day my board tried to vote me off for good. The vote failed by one. Make of that what you will. I won't tie this up with a bow. Lighthouse is beautiful and already too small. The wait list makes my throat close. A kid ran last week because healing doesn't move in straight lines. Tyler still checks the locks. Hannah asked if we'd want her if she wasn't cute, and I had to swallow before I said yes. Of course, yes. Jada and I fight about toaster placement and how many sites we can open without burning out our people. Teresa works nights and calls from the break room to ask if she's doing motherhood right. And we say yes and mean it, and then pray we're not lying. That's my story, and now it's yours. A little bit too, so tell me in the comments if I did the right thing or the selfish thing. If a kid's warning should trump an inspection. If family is blood or the people who show up, if billionaires can ever spend clean in a dirty system. And if you've seen something like this where you live, share it. Argue with me, push back. Because one hand on a sleeve can change a life, sometimes it can change a city. And what you do at that split in the road, that's who you are.